it is still donation time at work. We've done the hygiene products already from doing the closet. Then I decided it was time to go ahead and look at my pantry because that also needs some help. And I'm sure I can help someone. Well, this is as far open as this is going to get with the stove. I just wanted to go over some of what's working and what's not. So I tried this kind of wire system, and it was supposed to be a stacking one, and there's one behind it so that the cans kind of come and roll out. It did come with dividers, but I wanted to like have some flexibility in can height, but then like obviously width if it's sitting in here. I don't know if you can tell this, but like this is not how this is meant to be used at all. And so I like the idea. A few things that I was struggling with are these cabinets are super deep. So that's why I was like, I'll put the second one back here, but like then I can't, I have to keep rooting around. I don't think there's any cans even laying down there anymore. Let's be honest, if we weren't organizing this today, I would probably leave that can back there, toppled over. It got impractical. I was going to say unpractical. Oh gosh. So it got a little bit impractical with how deep and dark this is in here. And I know someone's probably going to be like, well, why didn't you get puck lighting? And maybe it's me, but I think most puck lighting for these kinds of situations, they suck. They offer barely a little bit more lighting. I don't think they actually really help. Now, what I had really originally wanted was one of the organizers that goes like this. And that was a little bit out of my budget at the time, so I thought I would try this as a compromise, and clearly it ain't working. Cause like even there's cans here, there's a can down here. Down here has been like appliance, some cat food that I actually also need to donate that as well, because Queso likes that brand, but he doesn't like those for some reason. Go figure. I think it's because it's like the pate and not the little shreds and gravy, which he adores. So not much going on down here other than some appliances. And so far that has been working well. And that actually came to be down here because had a little bit of a mouse situation, and like that back corner got a little bit chewed up, and then like, oh God, it's been a whole thing. So that was my compromise was, well, let's clean it out because, you know, ew. Then let's move all the food up here and try to pare down the food situation, which I think largely has worked. I feel like for the longest time I was the type of person that was keeping ingredients on hand for dishes that I didn't necessarily make that often, like a pad thai or whatever, and eventually those things go bad. So one thing I don't really understand about HelloFresh, I've been getting really frustrated with them lately. I've been skipping like I'm trying to get a rock across the river, because like those types of meals, like a pad thai or chicken piccata or something, where like getting large amounts of like capers or tamarind sauce, or even just like, I don't know why HelloFresh doesn't do like clearly crowd favorites that people don't necessarily want to invest in large amounts of those ingredients, or if they do, they end up wasting a ton of them, which is supposed to be part of the whole point of HelloFresh, is that you're not wasting a whole bunch of stuff or spending tons of money on large amounts of ingredients. So anyway, no one at HelloFresh cares about me right now, probably, but those are some ideas. The other thing I attempted to do is back here. I originally had this out on the shelf, and I guess I'll bring some stuff out so you can see. I thought that having my supplements and vitamins and stuff in the kitchen would increase the odds of me taking them consistently. It sort of worked when it was out on the counter, but then my counter space is so limited. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this yet. But at least we've made room in the closet so that I have room to put it in there if that's what we decide to do, because I guess that is also an option, is just, I don't know, put a bajillion reminders on my phone for me to ignore and then forget anyway. It's an option. So I guess let's go ahead and take that out, and I don't think we need to troubleshoot this today. So if I do come up with any awesome ideas between now and when I finish editing this video, I'll include it. So let's go up here. I know this is gonna be a like super awkward angle. This isn't terrible, but it's not the best, especially like if I pull this down. These are probably stale and stuff. I don't know why I don't just throw them out, other than like I'll see them and I'll be like, oh, I'll do it on trash day so it's not like clogging up the trash, and then I forget on trash day. because I don't eat cereal a whole ton. I don't even drink anymore. I don't care. This isn't bad. I think I just have not been doing the best, like maintaining it. Maybe I should go get the stepladder. Now let's see how high this goes. Whoa. Okay. For reference, I'm nearly 6 feet tall, so this is an awesome tripod. Heck yeah. I could go even higher. All right. I don't need to go that high. Let me move over a scoosh. Even on a stepladder, I'm a huge baby. I don't know what it is about ladders in general. Step ladders I can kind of do, not real ladders. It's always been a struggle. Okay, so this was sort of baking and stuff like that. The jellos and stuff that you put in with your baking stuff for, I don't know, I guess that's just what people do. This whole bin right here, I went through this whole keto phase, you know, probably 2 or 3 times. This last one last year, I tried it and I just, so a bunch of like random, probably expensive and open ingredients. If they're open and possibly expired, obviously I can't donate those. Some other stuff, these I'm keeping because it's muffin mix to make muffins for my dad in his favorite flavor, which means I should actually, you know, get around to fixing the element that's broken in the oven. So if you've been around for a while and you're an OG and you're thinking to yourself, hasn't it been at least 6 months since the element in your oven went? And I'm gonna go, yeah, because I just kind of got used to using the air fryer and the stove. And of course, now it's already like 80 degrees in Ohio, and who wants to turn on the oven? But also a muffin, even my little 6-well muffin pan will not fit in the air fryer to try to, you know, like air fry bake them. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move on with step 1, which is finding stuff that I am willing to donate, and then also probably find trash in here too, because like, why wouldn't I find trash? Seriously. Okay, first thing I was going to pull out and go, well, I'm going to keep that for this year is I personally am not a s'mores person. I think they are incredibly overrated. Yes, even if you use a Reese cup or something else in the place of a plain piece of chocolate. I don't hate them, but I think they're overrated. But I know a lot of my friends and family love s'mores, so I keep s'mores stuff for out at the bonfire. So I was gonna keep them, and these are 2 months expired. Probably they're fine. If it was just me eating them, I would probably keep them and just try to put them in the rotation of eating things right now. And like, they're not even like open, so I can't even donate them. Seriously, Holly? I'm going to trash them because sitting here thinking like, do I want to eat graham crackers just to eat graham crackers? And truthfully, I don't. I should probably go ahead and put on the hyperlapse, keep moving, because otherwise I will be filming until midnight at this rate. And we can go over all of the nonsense in a little bit. So about the keto stuff, a few things were expired, and it's unfortunate because like, this is almost a full pouch. It's expired enough on an ingredient that I don't know well enough that I'm not willing to, you know, take those chances. Some of these are unfortunate because they would be donatable, but they expired at like the end of last year. There was something that expired yesterday, so. Okay, so if you are also cleaning out your pantry today, you're going to have to tell me in the comments, what is the most expired thing that you found? And what's the least expired? And do you plan to use it? And it was just a pouch of muffin mix. So I'm going to keep that, but I'm going to put it out front and center so that I actually make pancakes with these. So I remember I have them. And that in 6 months, I'm not coming across them again. Future Holly confirming the triple berry pancakes were in fact delicious and totally worth it. But as far as the rest of like the unopened or super like longer shelf life stuff that was keto, like obviously this could be used for any kind of baking. A lot of it is like sweeteners. I have no problem keeping sweeteners. I don't use tons of sweeteners in general, but I'm willing to give them a try. And this one, we'll see. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, but time has already spoken, but I don't remember how much it was, but I know it was not cheap. If that means next time around I'm tossing it, that's unfortunate, but I'm going to try to remember to use this somehow. Xanthan gum, I don't think is actually the worst thing to keep around regardless of whether you're keto or gluten-free or whatever. I think that's still an improvement. A bit unfortunate that there was this much trash and only this much donation. I could have kept this because it's sugar, but I felt how much I had in the other one, and for how little I use sugar, I'm okay parting with this and letting someone else have this. Little stuff like this that can really break a budget when you're a little food insecure, having been there myself before. And so I don't mind letting this one go. Truthfully, probably the reason I had an extra one anyway was, I don't know if you remember this whole like trucker strike in Canada, but I prepared in case it came to the US, because I think it very nearly did. I got a little carried away, started watching Preppers, which I do not recommend if you are trying to simplify things. And I do agree, you should have some emergency staples for power outages, whatever. That's actually why I have cereal, not so much that I eat it, just to eat it. It's in case my power goes out. I would rather have cereal than a cold can of green beans or something. That's just me. Although I do have a grill now. My neighbor gave me his old grill, so that wouldn't be the worst thing. Similar to that with peanut butter, because I already had one up there and there's a partial one in my office, I'm fine to go ahead and give someone the gift of some peanut butter. I'm going to keep this out and maybe this weekend have wild berry pancakes. So really disappointed in myself, but I mean, this happens to everyone. And some of these do not have like ideal expiration date, but again, I know I've been in that position where I've gone to food banks and I made use of whatever they gave me, and I didn't worry about how soon the date was because I was probably hungry and going to eat it anyway. So yeah, I'm also going to go ahead and speed up the main pantry, otherwise we are going to be here all day. Okay, so obviously got a lot of this cleaned out, and yes, I kept getting coupons and kept forgetting I bought some of this stuff. But I also have a thing about like certain types of housewares where I try to buy like a whole year's worth at a time. It's clearly been more than a year's worth. So this is what I have left of canned goods and some of the other stuff. A lot of stuff did, go in the donate pile, not as much as I wanted to, clearly. So just for now, I'm using this as a makeshift for like the partially used pasta, sauces. I'm never going to forget that. And then also my stash of Built Bars, which I use this. Let's just say I like having a variety of puffs, and I didn't like go crazy organizing them this time because I generally know what color wrapper I'm wanting to reach for at any given time. Again, super disappointed in how much I'm going to end up having to trash, and some of these were like a year, actually over a year expired. I'm not even going to try to mess with those, and that's unfortunate. There is still more here and a decent amount of like quality things. Some of this is going to seem odd with how much protein-based stuff I'm donating. I know that's what these food banks are generally hurting for the most. I don't think I ever got anything protein whenever I've had to go to the food bank. For me, it was always just the rice and the beans and the classics. Even having that taken off of my shopping list was a huge help. These are still way in date. Like most of these still have at least another year on them. I just know I've had them for a little bit. I'm not reaching for them, and I'm not like feeling like I want to make buffalo chicken dip lately. I'm having a hard time with tomatoes and heartburn, so that kind of stuff can go. The protein pasta, it's a higher quality. It's my backup, but it's okay. I'm actually in a position to be able to give back a little bit. I did expect to find a few expired items, but I was honestly really surprised with how many were expired because I go through this stuff regularly. It's a bummer. Some of it was like I got caught up in I'm going to make my own white pizzas, and so I need all the Alfredo sauce, and while it's on sale I might as well get 4 of them, and that's kind of the thing with all of them. Even like the enchilada sauce, at one point, it was a regular meal in the rotation to make enchiladas, and I really just don't anymore. I've gotten so plant-based anymore that I don't really mind giving the protein to those who genuinely will, need it and enjoy it more than I will. Not awesome, but still awesome, I guess. And I didn't bother going through like the cereals and stuff because, I'm going to throw out the ones that I know are open and stale. That's pretty much all that's up in that cabinet, plus like the pancake mix. And I remember buying most of that stuff relatively recently. As far as organizing, I don't know what I'm going to do. As much as I would like one of the canned things that like goes like this and, it rolls down, I don't know if I'm going to find one that will fit this. Also, they are not cheap. They have not come down in price, if anything. like everything else, it's gone up in price. I did pick up something from Dollar Tree to try. I know you've heard me say it's nice to invest in better systems when you can, but especially if you're not sure how you're going to feel about something, I think Dollar Tree is the way to go because you can get a better quality something when it breaks down. And I know that feels wasteful, but for me, it feels even crappier to spend $30 on a system that did not work, clearly. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. You don't have to agree with me, obviously, but I'm fine with Dollar Tree and Dollar General types of prototypes for just testing things out. Sometimes I've had containers like last a very long time, so I feel like we all really struggle when we have to dispose of food, and I even went ahead and cleaned out the fridge on a different day, mostly out of frustration, and so I didn't get it on film. But I got to the point where I'm like, I have to put stuff in here, and there's too much crap in the way. Food is the one that feels the suckiest to get rid of because we know there are people starving in the world, and that food is life, essentially. And it always starts out with the best of intentions. We might want to try something new, and so if we didn't like it, it's a little bit easier. But if it's food we do like and we would normally consume, oh gosh, it's like, I don't want to say we're starving ourselves or robbing ourselves, but it's just the idea of like, it's so wasteful. You know, I am doing some good. I did end up being able to donate 13 items of food, a lot of which is protein. So between that and I believe it was 23 hygiene items, I ended up donating 36 pieces of something for the local Harvest for Hunger. So that's great and awesome. But when you look at how much could have been donated, or the open stuff that was only half eaten and I got forgotten, or I decided I wanted something else and then forgot it again later. Gosh, that's the part that just is hard to deal with sometimes. And I know we just have to keep telling ourselves to do better and to try better, and that's really all we can do is just go, you know what? I am super blessed right now, and I'm just doing the best that I can. I think what's sometimes harder is if you are a single dweller, because it's like you want to prep enough food ahead of time so that, you know, you can save a little bit of time cooking, but then you overcook or undercook, so then you're getting takeout anyway, or you kind of, I don't want to say mismatch, but you don't quite have enough of one ingredient to go with the other, and then you overbuy so you avoid that situation again. Then we hear of or see supply chain shortages and our favorite things might not be on the shelves. So then the next time it is in stock, and in some cases it's weeks and months later, then you buy more than even anyone rationally would buy, but then you remember not having it. It's just this whole weird cycle these days. What are my biggest concerns? Would be a long-term power outage, and I did go ahead and I grabbed a few more boxes of cereal and some shelf-stable almond milk to replenish that cabinet. I don't know, again, it's so hard because I'm sort of rural, so I could drive into another town or city that might have power and, you know, do some takeout for a few days, but then if you're old enough to remember when that whole power grid situation happened, like I said, it's stuff like that, I mean, I kind of forgot about that until I sat down to have this last part of the chat. But honestly, you know, when you're starting to think about, okay, what do I need in food? And then suddenly all of these things come up. How long were we without power when that power grid went down? It was a long time. So, you know, I know at the time I was living with someone and we made do between the barbecue grill and, you know, went to his parents and they grilled out for a little while. And it was sort of fun and camping and campy and stuff. And we were in an area that we didn't even have the worst of the power outage as far as how long we were without power. How do you even plan? I guess the biggest thing is less about planning and more about making sure you stick to foods you eat regularly and just stocking up enough on those to last, I don't know, like a week or 2 weeks. and just rotate things through as you normally would and hope for the best. Like, what is a reasonable amount of food to have for an emergency situation? I don't even know. So, and it's hard to say too, because like you saw, I got caught up in a prepper's mentality and went bananas with my purchasing, and that didn't end well either, and that was even more waste. I'm just curious to hear what you guys think, and I know we didn't touch all of the kitchen today. These are just the main pantry cupboards that I use from day to day. The rest of it is like, you know, pots, pans, other that kind of stuff. You can tell it is definitely getting warmer and warmer in here, so I am gonna go cool off in the bedroom probably and finish editing and get this up. My neighbor that we've been joking about was very kind enough to give me a portable air conditioner so I don't have to strain the whole house AC, but now it's like definitely warm in here. It is it's gotta be above 80, so I will leave you with that today, and as always, I cannot wait to visit with you in the next one. Bye!